today, we have Councilwoman of the 5th District, Councilwoman Linda Barnes Caldwell, Councilman at Large, Clorius Lay. And I think those are the only council members that I see on the call right now. Okay, before us this evening, we have a number of ordinances to look at. I believe there's a total of 9. And I am just going to call them out in order and we can review them if they are scheduled. So the first ordinance that we have, starting with, I will tell all the ones that we have. We have CPO 2020-58, CPO 2020-59, CPO 2020-60, CPO 2020-61, 2020-62, 2020-63, 2020-64, 2020-65, and 2020-66. So for those residents that are on the call, the process that we'll do is we'll review each individual ordinance, and then we will ask for the petitioner to also give us some feedback in terms of what you are looking to do and the reason for the request. So the first one that we have up is CPO 2020-58, which is an ordinance amending Title 15 entitled Land Usage, Chapter 123 entitled Zoning Code for the Code of Ordinances of the City of Gary. This is for a property, it looks like it's at 3314 West Ridge Road. So do we want to have an overview from Mr., I think the last name is Zibaria? Boria? Or is Mr. Jenkins giving the overview?
Mr. Boria is on, but John Talbot is also on, if he wants to go ahead and give the overview.
Yes, I would also, this is Steve Jenkins. I would also recommend that the petitioner give the overview for what they plan to do with their property. That's how we've done it in the past.
Okay, so first let me say with this one particular ordinance, there was no zoning map included in this one. Do you all have this information being from the administration?
Yes, we do. I can get it and I can actually pull it up and share the screen.
Okay, and then if you could forward that to all council members, that would be great as well.
Yep, will do.
So the petitioner for this one is, I didn't catch the name.
John Talbot is on the line to speak.
Okay.
Of this 3314.
Okay, you can proceed, Mr. Talbot.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. If you're speaking, we can't hear you right now.
Okay. My name is John Talbot. I'm representing Brian and Jeanette Doman, who are the owner. Can you hear me now?
You are breaking up on my end. I'm not sure if anyone else is hearing that interference.
John, if you want me to give the overview, I can. Your phone is kind of sketchy.
Hello? Hello?
All right. I can go ahead and give
Eric?
the overview of this one. Can you see my screen?
This is crazy. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Please give the overview. Yes. Thank you, Eric.
Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can see the screen.
I do not see your screen.
All right, BZA 2020-05. The petition is a developmental standards variance at 3314 West Ridge Road. There are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 aspects of the developmental standards variance that are being requested here. And I'll just run through them. 1A is addressing the 200-foot frontage. And I'll demonstrate this with the visual map in 1 second. But I'll run through the text first. Allow motor freight facility on a parcel with less than 200-foot frontage, 50-foot. There are 50-foot on Ridge Road and 109 and change on Chase Road. The 1B requires separate ingress and egress requirements, and he's requesting that it be reduced to 1 ingress egress. 1C requests a 15-foot vegetative buffer on all sides. He's requesting a setback of 0 feet on the east side of the flagged portion. 1D, the ordinance states 15-foot vegetative buffer on all sides, and he's requesting 5 foot on the east side of the non-flagged portion. 1E, again, is the 15-foot vegetative buffer on all sides, and he's requesting 10 feet on the south boundary. 1F is requested relief from the required performance bond due to there being no construction other than curb cuts anticipated time. And 1G is allowing surface material of milled asphalt. I will go now to the photos. This is the survey of the property where this is what we refer to as the flagged portion. The vegetative setback requirements, this is the east, the flagged portion, east side. This is the non-flagged portion, east side. And this is the south portion.
Can you use your dial-in number?
You asked for the GIS map. The GIS map is the one on top here.
So does it have a thing to say to request to speak?
No.
Excuse me, can everyone who's not speaking at this time go on mute?
Oh, unmute.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Ty. The GIS image is the one on the top. The zoning map is the one on the bottom. It is zone M1-1. Findings of fact, the measures were taken to mitigate the neighbor impact. Measures were taken to address the change in use and value of adjacent properties, mitigate that, and due to the unusual geometry of the flag property is the reason why this petition is being requested in the first place. 35 mailings were sent to neighbors. We received 4 back, 2 not opposed. 1 was listed as a concern about the permeability of surface material and if it could add to runoff and cause flooding. The 2 that were opposed were concerned that the rain seeping through the milled asphalt shavings could contaminate well water and wonder if the milled asphalt shavings are already in place. And also requested that noise be kept down between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. and keeping the vegetative buffer on the sides to reduce noise level, traffic, dust, and questions about concerns of over hours of operation, the visual aspects, and concerns about decreased value of homes. The staff recommendation sees this as a potential to add tax revenue to the city on this parcel. Thank
So
you.
I have a question for you if it's up for a follow-up. So in your overview right now, towards the end, you just gave us 2 pieces of information from residents who oppose to it. How do you address these concerns, and just in terms of the process of responding back to these concerns? And as a respective to this particular ordinance and what's listed here, what is the response that we have to these particular concerns that are listed here?
I think 2 things that stand. I'm speaking on behalf of Gentel, but given.
Eric, can you hear me now?
Okay, we can. Do you want to speak?
Certainly.
Go for it.
Actually, hold a second here. I'm using two phones here, so I'm gonna.
Just start answering.
Okay. You did a very, very good job in presenting our case. I appreciate it. You know, in terms of the questions from neighbors, you know, the use of asphalt grindings is a well-established material that both IDEM and NDOT have agreed are not contaminants in any way.
John, you want to speak to the vegetative buffer, which addresses the other neighbor concerns?
Yes, as a matter of fact, so there is a mobile home park to our west. And to cover that, we are in fact building a very high earthen berm along our west property line that will be vegetated above. So we're really creating a very substantial buffer from the residential area. On the east side, we're asking for the variance of the setback, whatever trees are there will remain, but there are no residences within 200 feet of the property, and the adjacent property is heavily wooded.
Madam Chair,
That's Councilwoman.
I'm looking at your plans and I'm reading. What are you making?
This will be used for truck and tractor trailer storage and parking.
I really wish that I guess the planning department would reach out to the council people whose district these items are in. And I've been saying this repeatedly, yet we get nothing. So then I have to sit here and ask all these questions. So you want to bring trucking to the area right off of Chase Street? Is that
Well, essentially, it's off of Ridge Road. Ridge Road will be our only access point. It's really that 50-foot wide flag at the bottom of the property that will be used as the main entrance. And I should say that this lot previously was used, had very heavy commercial trucking. In fact, there's a large truck scale there from prior ownership on the property. So this use is consistent with previous ownership on the property.
okay?
Does any other council members have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Thank you so much for participating. We will be reviewing this at our next scheduled public meeting, which is October the 20th at 6 p.m. We will ask that the representative or the petitioners also be present during that time as well.
We certainly will. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next one that we will be reviewing is 2020-59. This is an ordinance, again, it says for land usage, chapter 123 entitled zoning code. The address location, it is 8618 Pine Avenue. And the petitioners are Holly Jones and Mark Mueller. Are the petitioners on the line tonight?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so if you would like to provide us with an overview.
Okay, I can do that. We would like to build a single family home. The property is zoned R2. The lot has a steep slope, and it slopes, it's higher in the back than in the front. If you're looking at I'm not sure what all you're looking at, but technically the front yard is Pine Avenue there at the bottom of your screen, if you're looking at the picture. So Pine Avenue is, obviously our address. So that's the front of the house. And what we're asking for, that front yard setback, what's required per the code is 25 feet. And what we're asking for is 5 feet from our property line. So essentially what we've asked to do is just shift the building footprint south so that we can use the higher part of the lot, and then our house will line up with our neighbor's house instead of being, 20 feet in front of their house or closer to the lake. So then it's worth noting that from the pavement there, that Pine Avenue, on the bottom picture of your screen, this is still going to be, even though we're 5 feet from our property line, this will still be 37 feet from the existing pavement of Pine Avenue there. So I just wanted to make sure that people didn't think, oh, you're going to be 5 feet from the road. So that's what we're asking for, is a variance so that we can decrease the setback, the front yard setback to Pine Avenue there, and by 20 feet. So.
And just to confirm, this is to line up with, you said, the neighbors who are adjacent to you as well?
Yeah, it's also the higher part of the lot, instead of just, using fill, because there's about 15 feet of slope on the lot. So it decreases, what we'd have to do to build, and we can access from the front and the back. So, yeah.
Okay. So Eric, is this common for residential new construction or any residential proprietor to have to ask for these type of zoning variances, or is this a unique situation?
It is common in these areas where you have a ridge.
A ridge.
Yeah, in the photo on the bottom, you see that all the houses on Pine Avenue are basically on the south side of the lot, and that's because of elevation difference.
Okay, I can tell it kind of slopes.
And given that zoning standards are uniform across, then those properties need to request a variance.
Okay. Council members, are there any questions or comments?
No question for me, just welcome.
For the record, our chair has joined the meeting, Councilman Ron Brewer.
You're doing a good job. Continue, please.
So Ms. Jones, thank you for joining us tonight. Our public meeting will be on the 20th. We will ask for you to join at that time as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Chair, that we just wrapped up 2020-59. And so now we will be on 60. I will hand it over to you.
Okay. So at this time, we're moving to CPO 2020-60, property 6101 East 6th Place, Gary, Indiana, 46403. Petitioner Annie Martinez, 6101 East 6th Place, Gary, Indiana, 46403. At this time, we will have an overview.
Hi, yeah, so I'm Anna Martinez. I have a kombucha business, and I had the cafe on Lake Street, which I'm going to be closing because of COVID. Whatever, it just didn't work out there. And I wanted to continue my production of kombucha as well as some food for a truck that I have. Plus I do wholesale in markets throughout Northwest Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. And because my production is still small, I wanted to build a commercial kitchen on my own property in my home. And so that's what my variance is asking for.
Is there any question by any council members at this time? Let me just commend you, Anna, for all that you have endured these past 3-4 years in that area there. You definitely stuck it out. And I just commend you for your dedication to this city.
I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate that. And I want to continue being a part of it. And this is the only way that I can see doing it for now.
Okay.
So I'm just rolling with the punches, and I think this might be a good step in the, right direction.
Yes. Well, I support you 100%. Is
Thank
any other council members?
I'll just add, Anna, also the quality of the product. I'm a fan. And so thank you for staying homegrown within the city of Gary. So again, just to echo Councilman Brewer's comment as well, I support you as well in all of your endeavors.
Thank you. I've got a huge smile on my face, just so you all know. Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Is there anyone else? Thank you, Anna. We will take this up at the council meeting on 3rd and final via Zoom at 6 p.m. We ask if you can join us, so if anyone else is not present will have any questions, they can at that time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I just make one comment
Yes.
to Mr. Boria? Am I pronouncing that right, Eric?
Boria, that's fine.
Boria. Okay, get the syllables right. I think that your notes that you're sharing with us in terms of the overview and information that has happened at the BZA is very helpful. Is there a way that we could also get copies of these included in our packets when the zoning ordinances come up to the council? I think it'd be very helpful for us to know in advance what conversation was had in terms of the responses to the certified mailings. You have noted that very well in your notes.
Hello, this
Absolutely.
is Steve. Sorry, Eric. I didn't mean to talk over you. This is Steve Jenkins. I do want to say that, I'll work with Eric to make sure I have that information to include that in the packet you guys get for the council going forward. I'm sorry, I think I didn't include everything. I think I tried to include the map in every packet for these ordinances, but I'll make sure I work with Eric we can include that entire packet if that's what you'd like going forward.
I would. I think it'd be helpful for the committee at least. So I appreciate that, Attorney Jenkins. Thank you.
Yeah, I put together one document that has everything. So I'll get that over to Stephen.
Anyone else? Okay. Going to the next one. CPO 2020-61, property 372 Arthur Street, Gary, Indiana, 46404. Petitioner Eugenia German, 372 Arthur Street, Gary, Indiana, 46404. This time we will have the overview at this time.
Eugenia, I think.
Hello. Yes. Oh, hi.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm asking for like a special use permit for in-home daycare. Right now, I'm currently babysitting my 4 grandkids, and with the COVID going on, state requires you to up to 12, but with the COVID, I want to do up to 6. I'm doing e-learning with 2 of the students. The daycare, I don't want it to just be a daycare. I want it to be like a learning center, where I tutor the kids and actually teach the kids. A little background about myself. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 19 years. I never really expected to have a daycare. I took a leave of absence from my job to take care of my husband. Unfortunately, he passed away. My daughter moved in with me, and with her 4 kids, I started babysitting the kids. I noticed that they were delayed as far as education. And I started, helping them, as far as education, trying to get them up to par. And doing that, I realized that I had like a calling, as far as, a daycare. So I feel I could be very beneficial as far as the community with the e-learning going on. And especially I know a lot of kids need assistance with as far as tutoring, and I can be the assistant. I have a fenced in yard. My number 1 priority is safety. I've been living in this property for 27 years. I have 4 grown kids. I have 3 college graduates. I never had as far as safety incident, as far as like traffic or anything at my home. Oh, that's it.
Okay, and I'm trying to see, is there a driveway? I see, I don't see a driveway. Is there a driveway to your residence?
No, no, there's no driveway. Most neighbors here, we have 2-car garages.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so no letters went out to all the neighbors there. What was the response to the neighbors with you taking it to the next level as a full daycare?
Yeah. Some neighbors was concerned about traffic.
Mhm.
I think I can respond to this since I
Oh.
read the letters.
Okay,
We received 6 mails back. 3 were not opposed. 3 were opposed. Of the 3 that opposed, all 3 of them mentioned traffic congestion. One of them was concerned about speeding, concerned about the daycare being on a corner, and the potential for limited parking and double parking, that kind of thing.
Can I respond to that?
yes, please.
Okay. Like I said earlier, I raised 4 kids in this home. As far as traffic, I haven't had any issues. You know, I have a fenced-in yard. Safety is my #1 priority. I have a 2-car garage. The 2 houses next to me also have a 2-car garage. They use their garage. So as far as parking, that would not be an issue.
So are you saying that they're going to use the garage for parking, or are you saying the street will be available?
The street would be available because most of my neighbors use their garage.
It has always been a concern for me, having the kids to have a driveway to get dropped off in compared to the street. Because we all know how kids are. Sometimes they can get loose and run, and you never can tell what the next driver is doing.
Right.
That's
Well,
always been a safety concern of mine.
oh, you know what I can, as far as that, you know, I can actually go out to the car to actually get the child and make sure the child is safely into the house. So you know, as far as the kids coming up, I would never allow a child to just run up by himself or by herself.
I do understand that you say you're doing 4 of your grandkids now, so therefore the traffic probably is not there, as people will see if it's 4 random other kids being dropped off. And I know you can go up to 12 instead of a home daycare, and you're looking to get up to at least 6 right now.
Right. And the other 2 would be my my niece and nephew. And as far as right now, as far as with the COVID virus going on, that's all I will have right now is 6. You know, and I'm already doing 4,
So
which is in home right now.
right. And I know you can do up to 5 without even coming before the council. Is this something that you're looking to do after COVID is over, or is this something you're doing now because your family basically is in a demand where you're needed?
Well, I actually want to, you know, this is just like a stepping stone for me. I want to do a daycare center. And this came about, I didn't actually know I needed like a permit or to actually babysit my grandchildren. And because I have more than 3 grandchildren, I actually have to go for a permit.
Yeah, I think it's more than once you go more than 5, you need to come for the permit and come before council at that time. But I'm going to ask, is there any other concerns or questions by any other council members at this time? This is, I believe, in the 2nd district. Any council member?
Maybe just a question, how many other daycares are within that area?
I know there's a daycare across from the police department, a daycare center. I don't think there's any, I don't know if any other like home daycares in my area.
So the map that you're showing, is this a depiction of the existing daycares?
Yes, blue houses are existing daycares from 2019. Red stars are the petitions that are going through that have come through the BZA.
Okay.
112 already went through Common Council last time, so.
So the current one that Ms. Eugenia is speaking of, is this the one that's star number 9?
Uh, 13, I believe. Do I have that wrong?
I think they must be it. Could you make it out, Councilwoman? You're muted.
Sorry.
Yeah. I just started looking at it.
I'm like, I'm just a talking. No, I think that's incorrect, Mr. Bory. I think it might be over here, right, in this upper quadrant area.
I
Third
can't
is
see
Arthur?
your pointer. You think it's 11?
Mm-mm. Maybe like 12 or 9, right? It's third and Arthur, right?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Arthur. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be either 12 or 9 then.
So are the clustered, okay, and then the blue homes around, that is actual daycares that have already been through BZA
Yeah, those
for
are
2020?
functioning daycares.
Ah, okay. So 1 through
Functioning existing daycares.
6.
So yeah, there's one next to each of those. And I think this is Arthur Street, right?
Possibly. Tab, Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry for the confusion.
Okay. Okay, so you have a number in that area already. Just questioning it.
Okay. Well, we will take this under advisement and we will move, I will move forward to go before third and final. And I will ask if you will be there via Zoom. So if there's any other question any other council member will have, they can get those answered at that time. So we'll meet on the 20th at 6 p.m. I'll ask if you can attend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
And this is Eric. I apologize. I will update those numbers for the CPO numbers next time.
No problem. Let me see here, the next one.
There we go. I jumped the gun. This is 13.
So we'll move to CPO 2062. Petitioner Mary Hubbard Bobo, 7734 Ida Avenue, Hobart, Indiana, 46342. Property 3978 Martin Luther King Street, Gary, Indiana, 46409. We will have an overview at this time.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
is the individual here for that property?
I'm just
She's
requesting an
muted.
overview at this time.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Hi, at this time, I'm asking for an overview of what you're planning on doing.
All right. Well, I'm planning to open a daycare there at that property. Going for a licensure to be able to provide care for up to 12 children ages 6 months to 13 years of age. This would be only Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And my goal at this particular site is to provide e-learning for the children in the community who are staying at home and the parents aren't able to assist with e-learning, and to provide a safe, nurturing environment for e-learning.
What's your hours of operation?
Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. Do your property have a driveway on it?
No,
No driveway?
no, it's only street parking, but the two properties, just north of me are both vacant right now. And, there's no, parking it's not an issue, right now at this point for street parking, for the daycare.
And I know letters went out to the residents in that area there. What was the response to the letters that went out? I believe that's plenty.
Mr. Chair, we received also one letter after the meeting, the BZA meeting. Shall I include that one in this feedback as well?
Yes, please.
Okay, the letters that were received before the meeting were both concerned about the residential nature of the area. And they were concerned that putting a daycare, some form of commercial business in there would disrupt the residential nature of the neighborhood. The letter we received afterwards questioned that there was a past history of potential drug dealing at the property, and was concerned about if it's the same person, that whether it would still be a peaceful neighborhood, and that sort of line of questioning.
So on that note, I'm going to ask the petitioner, are you the owner of that property or is that rental property?
I've never lived there. Let me just say that. I have owned the property for about 4 years. I've always rented the property, and actually the property was rented to a young couple through Section 8. Now, one of the council members actually lived across the street from this property, and there was some suspected drug dealing or use by the tenants. The tenants stayed there 1 year, and they moved out of that property in July. So my answer to the concerns of the council person who lives on that block was that those tenants no longer live there. There was a high amount of traffic. Neighbors complained about it being a lot of traffic at this particular address, but those people no longer reside there. What I stated to this person is that opening up a daycare at that property would, number one, alleviate any potential of any type of activity like that at all, because it's a daycare. The prior tenants that lived there were a young couple, and again, they did have a lot of traffic. I was the landlord. I knew of no drug use or dealing there or anything like that. And again, these were Section 8 tenants that had went through all of the process of being approved for Section 8 and those types of things. But again, the tenants lived there for 1 year. They moved out in July, and I decided to turn this particular home into a daycare because I know that there's a need in the community, and I already own a daycare also in that area, and which is at full capacity. And I was getting a lot of requests, and I knew a lot of people who had a need for childcare. I still know so many people who are struggling to work and be able to make sure that their children are safe, not left alone at home, struggling through all of this e-learning in this pandemic. But as far as drug dealing and a lot of activity, again, I think it's a positive thing to bring into the community. It's a quiet daycare. Like I said, we don't do childcare outside in the yard. We do childcare inside of the property. And I think the benefits definitely outweigh the risk, and that is history. That's not current.
Where's you stated that you have another daycare. Is it close by this location?
It is. It's located at 3921 Tennessee Street.
And you're at full capacity there, so therefore you're looking to do something here.
Exactly.
What's your hours that you're proclaiming to do operations at this location?
Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Closed on the weekends, closed after 6 p.m. And again, like I said, the benefit to the community children outweigh any, and again, it's not a disruptive, it's a daycare. It's not a disruptive situation. And again, those folks have moved on. They're not tenants in any of my other rental properties. That's a closed chapter. And, you know, like I said, this is a positive thing for that block as well as for the community. And, you know, like I said, our children are suffering and there's a need for it.
I'm going to ask, how long was your tenants there in that property?
1 year.
1 year?
Yes.
So
and I never planned on renewing the lease with them because the neighbors were complaining, primarily the councilwoman. And again, you know, I didn't want to, because I do own several properties in Gary, and I did not want to be disruptive to any neighborhood or any block. And so because there was so many complaints from, you know, the neighbor, I definitely wanted to, that was a motivation for me not to renew the lease, number one. And number two, again, I had planned to turn it into a daycare anyways because the need was there.
Any other council members at this time?
Yeah. Ms. Bobo, how you doing? This is your
I'm well.
6th District Councilman. The tenants that lived there, wasn't there a drug raid there recently performed by the sheriff, Lake County Sheriff?
Yes.
At that address? So they didn't necessarily move out on their own, they were forced out because of the drugs, right?
No, not at all. I mean, I knew that there had been some police activity there, and but the police never reached out to me. Mm-hmm. And so I have no knowledge of really, other than speaking to the councilwoman, I have no knowledge of what the charge was. And I said yes, that it was a drug raid, but I can't, you know, say yes to that or no, because I don't know. No one never reached out to me. And like I said, these were my tenants. The police never reached out to me. I don't know for sure if it was a drug raid or not, but the councilwoman told me that it was a drug raid. But the tenants never shared that information with me. And I want to say that probably happened maybe in like December. I'm sorry. I think that happened in like December or January, and they didn't move out until July. And no one from the courts or no one from the police never reached out to me. So they didn't move as a result of a drug situation. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I'm really a little bit upset that this is even a conversation about previous tenants when I'm seeking, you know, approval from the city for a daycare license for a property. I don't have a criminal record.
No,
it's not that now.
I'm a registered nurse of more than 25 years. I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's no indictment on you. When you talking about putting kids in safety areas and things of the nature, and we have reports of drug busts being done in that area, multiple calls of police being done in that area, I think it's a great concern to all council members, and especially Councilman Williams, who is the councilman of that district there. So I don't think the question is invalid, what he's asking. I think it's definitely something we should look into, because just because a person moves out doesn't mean whatever was taking place in the house has to stop. Some people may feel like they still live there and don't know that it may become a new daycare. So I think for us just to overlook these items that have been brought up, it's not good on our part.
Okay, well, I totally agree with that, because at the end of the day, it's all about the children's safety. Absolutely. And I definitely want to be compliant and complicit with all of that. So yes.
Councilman Williams, please continue.
Thank you. So one of my last questions, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, one of my last questions is, with you being a property owner, and you did state earlier, some of the residents were telling you that they were a lot of trafficking, a lot of moving around that house. Did you ever stop by, take a look, see for yourself?
Absolutely, absolutely. And they did have quite a bit of
company and traffic, and my brother owns a few houses on that block too, so he's always over there working in that. And he also was like, yeah, they have a lot of, you know, company, and you know, I see several cars over there. So I definitely was in communication with my tenants, and you know, talking to them about the activity and the complaints. So you know, I definitely addressed to them you know, the complaints and the issues, and me going by there to check. But in addition to that, because of all of the complaints and that, I had already mentioned or spoken to the leaser that I did not want to renew the lease. So, you know, I definitely addressed the concerns. I went by there, but I never saw any thing that I knew to be drug traffic or drug issues. I don't condone any of that. Like I said, I'm nowhere near in, but like I said, I do have tenants. They were a young couple, and they did seem to have like a lot of parties and cookouts and barbecues and stuff. So I'm aware of that, and I did mention that. But no, I don't know of any drug use. I don't even know of a drug raid other than what the councilwoman told me.
Okay. And I understand what you're saying to me. How long has it been since those tenants left?
They moved out the end of June. So the property was vacant as of July 1st.
July 1st.
So like 4 months.
Councilman Brewer.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Ms. Bobo?
Yes.
You said you have a daycare on another block, a couple blocks over. How's your relationship with the neighbors over there?
Wonderful, excellent. They are very happy that I have the daycare there. They are always commending how well we keep the property up. You know, one of my neighbors across the street, you know, he told me that, you know, he's in competition with how well we keep the grass cut weekly and the landscaping and that. Actually, this particular councilwoman who had the concern, she has visited that daycare. Actually, she came by doing the census, and she complimented how clean and how nice it was. So, you know, the neighbors on that block, they watch out for my daycare. The light, I have a light outside that comes on, you know, at dark. That light had went out, and one of the neighbors called me and was like, it's awful dark over there, Mary. So, you know, they watch out for the daycare. I have not had any complaints, and I think it's been a very positive addition to that block.
No parking issues?
None whatsoever.
Okay.
And there's no driveway.
Okay, both daycares, no one will be living in them. They'll be just strictly daycares?
Absolutely. No one lives in either resident, either house.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other councilperson?
Do you know what month the raid took place? You don't know the month of the raid?
I spoke with
the sheriff, the Lake County sheriff, and he told me that there was a raid performed there. So I was just wondering, do you know the month that the raid took place?
I don't know. It was in the winter time, and I want to say like maybe January, you know, December, maybe I think December or January. It had been about 6 months before they moved. And they had been living there for about 6 months when that happened, and about 6 months following that is when their lease was up and they moved.
Councilman Williams, I can get you that information. I believe the tenant, the petition said they lived there for a year, so I can get information from the police department on records of calls and things of that nature that have accumulated at that address for the past year.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other questions by council members? Thank you, Ms. Bobo. We will take this up on third and final, and we will
Mr. Chair.
Oh, okay. I didn't see my timer. Former Councilwoman Levita Sparks-Wade, please.
Thank you. Again, this is former Councilwoman Levita Sparks-Wade, and thank you for this opportunity to speak before this body. First of all, let me say that this is not a personal matter. I believe that Ms. Bobo is a nice person. I believe that her brother especially is a very good landlord. As a matter of fact, he has 2 houses that are directly north of my home, and they are very good tenants. They've assimilated themselves into the community, and we've had no problems out of his tenants. And let me just say that the year and a half that that family lived there was pure misery, frustration, and pure hell for the entire community. And I'm talking about 3-4 blocks away, because I was the council person, were complaining to me about that particular residence. And the raid was actually in April of this year, April of 2020. The raid didn't happen until a couple months before they moved out. So we lived in misery for a year and a half. And let me just tell you that Mrs. Bobo indicated to me, as we've had conversations about the home afterwards. We didn't have any prior to, because she wouldn't return my phone calls. But she did talk to my mother, who my mother's 80 years old. She lives directly across the street from this house. And my mom is a former landlord, and she used to manage properties as well with information. I don't know if you all remember Fred Lewis, the former firefighter, but she used to manage homes with him. And she'd asked upon these tenants moving out, if Mrs. Bobo would let her also screen the tenants, because this selection was so poorly chosen. And not only was it poorly chosen, but she did nothing. I don't care how many times we asked her to do something about it, because as a landlord, you put it in your lease what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. The traffic there was the worst that we've ever seen in our community. The worst. This was just, I've been in the community for 40 years, and it was never, ever, ever this bad. And the thing is, most people didn't even know that our street existed beyond Ridge Road, because it cuts off at Ridge Road going south, and then you have to come up a block and down a block in order to see it. So we have very little street traffic. But when those tenants were there all day, all night, traffic, shooting, shots fired, almost every night, shots were fired. So I complained to the chief when I was a council person. I complained to Chief Richard Allen and Deputy Chief at that time, who's the new Chief Evans. And they had conducted one buy at the house, and then it was like they just dropped it. So then I had to contact the sheriff. I contacted the sheriff in March. In April, they conducted the raid. And let me tell you this about the conversation that I had with Ms. Bobo. When I was talking to her about the raid, her comment to me was, yeah, but they got out that same night. Okay, so you did know about the raid, and I talked to her after they moved out. So she did know that there was a raid, and she knew nobody has company like that. That was the same lie that he told me. Oh, we just got a lot of company. People think we're selling drugs, but we just have a lot. Nobody shows up at your house at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And they had 5 children living in that house. And so my biggest issue was her history of being a poor neighbor. And as a landlord, being a neighbor is extremely important, because you don't live in that neighborhood. And she resides in Hobart. And let me just say this, I used to license daycare homes some time ago when I was with the Department of Child Services. And when they first instituted the new change in regulations, this was for daycare. like the young earlier, Mrs. Eugenia German, who stated that she's doing it for her grandkids, and she's discovered that this is something that she likes to do, and she lives in her home. That was the spirit of the law. That was why they started doing daycare homes. And then Ms. German also indicated that she'd like to one day open up a daycare center. Well, yeah, I would like to see that as well if this is the profession that you're going in. But Mrs. Bobo is a full-time nurse. She doesn't work at the facility I know across the street from us right now, because they have opened up, and excuse me, they put a 6-foot sign in front of the house when they were approved by the Board of Zoning. And I sent a picture of that particular sign, and it indicated on the sign that, and I believe that that sign is a code violation in and of itself. And because there's virtually no traffic other than the people who live on our block and the block down in the 40th block of Martin Luther King, it's not for advertisement, because virtually nobody but the residents there come through there. And this is a retirement neighborhood. Most of the people on those 2 blocks are retired, and I mean most of them. Again, my mother's 80, her next door neighbor, which is just so happened to be my cousin, she's 79. The people down the street, we've got retired couples all over the place.
Well,
and finally, Ms. Bobo indicated that her daycare was going to be between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., but her sign says it's a 24-hour daycare. And they've been parking on the wrong side of the street or in the wrong direction when they come up and pull up. So, you know.
Councilwoman Wade, let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Ms. Bobo, we got some new enlightenments here tonight.
Yes.
Is your daycare open now?
No, I'm doing e-learning there with 4 to 5 kids every day. Yes.
Okay. And the sign.
And I understand that I have to be licensed. I'll take the sign down, but you know what? I really want to respond to. She just stepped all over my character.
But Ms. Bobo, let me answer a question. I'll give you a chance to respond to whatever you want to. So the sign that she spoke about, she said that it's 24 hours. Can you speak to that?
I can. You know what? That one of my coworkers made that sign for me based on my business card. My other daycare, I'm licensed for 24 hours at my other daycare. That is why that says that. But I can take the whole sign down. And my goal and my plan is to work to only be open Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Who's on from planning at this time? I want to make sure what we're discussing is in line with what took place at planning. Do we have anyone representing the planning department on?
This is really.
Okay, I'll deal with that then later. Okay, Ms. Bobo, I'm going to let you go ahead and have some closing remarks at this time.
Okay, thank you. I really feel violated right now. I feel that because she is a former councilwoman, that she is trying to block this, and she has stepped all over my 25 plus years in nursing, licensed by the state, a registered nurse, already licensed by the state as a child care provider. I've never had a complaint. I've never had any type of legal I've not broken any laws. You know, this is a personal vendetta. And as she said, her mother asked to screen my tenants. And I think that's totally out of line. Is she gonna help me pay the taxes or upkeep of the property when it's vacant? I have never had a problem with in any neighborhood. I own several properties. I've never had any issues. That particular tenant was approved through Section 8, and I rented that property hoping and praying, like most people who own properties, that those tenants would be upstanding and good neighbors. They lived there for 1 year. It ended up being a year and a few months because of COVID. I want to say her lease was up in maybe March, but because of COVID, Section 8 would not let me just kick her out. Or I maybe April, but Section 8 would not let me kick her out. And I really feel like she has just slandered my name, slandered me as a landlord, saying that I'm not a good neighbor and I'm not a good landlord. That's not correct. I had some bad tenants. Like anybody on this call who's ever been a landlord at all, I'm sure that there has been I'm really disappointed that, that she would come on this council meeting and just slash my name, my good name, okay, my integrity. I've not had any problems with any of the neighbors on 39th in Tennessee. And all of what she was saying was opinion-based about what she feels that the spirit of the law of child care was created. If the state of Indiana comes and, goes through my daycare, finds me deemable paperwork and property licensable, who are any neighbors who just want the property, the neighborhood to stay residential? I don't think it's fair. And I think this is all because she is, tied up with the city, that this can even be a thing. But anything that I'm in violation of, the sign, anything else, I will take it down tonight. That is not an issue, but I am going to go forward with this license for this daycare. And that I'm going to do. Thank you.
Nothing stops you from moving forward. You can operate.
But you know what? But with her being a council person, I'm sure it'll be denied.
Miss Bobo, you're not making this.
I know.
Okay.
It's me. I'm the problem.
No, but you can't overtalk me though.
Okay, go ahead.
This quick. You already know you can operate. Anyone can operate up to 5 kids in their home. After you get over 5, you have to come before this body here to get permission to move forward. At this time, if there's nothing else from any other council members at this time, I want to make sure anyone else on that has any comments, questions.
Mr. Chair, may I just say one more thing?
Very, very quickly, Councilwoman.
I do apologize. The other thing is, and again, this is not personal, this is business, but the yard is also not fenced in. And there are 2 vacant properties next door, both of which are very, very poorly taken care of. And it's a hazard when you don't have a fence and you have those vacant properties where rodents and whatnot are also coming in. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I have a fence. I've just recently installed a fence last week around the backyard, which is a requirement by the state. Okay. There is a fence. Thank you.
All right. I do plan on coming out to take a look at the property myself, just on the outside, a drive-by look myself. And Ms. Bobo, we will take this under advisement for a 3rd and final at the next council meeting at 6 p.m. That'll be on the 20th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. I will ask if you could please join us. So if any other council members is not here, they have a question, they can ask it at that time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. We will go to our next petitioner, CPO 2020-63. Property 3615 Carolina Street, Gary, Indiana, 46409. Petitioner Shirley Moss Alexander, 3615 Carolina Street, Gary, Indiana, 46409. At this time, we will have an overview.
Good evening, Council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good evening.
My name is Cheryl Moss Alexander, and I'm requesting a special use permit to open a daycare business in my home, 3615 Carolina Street. To give you a little information about myself, I'm an Indiana University graduate in sociology, a sociology degree that I have. The year 2020 marks 30 years in the social service field. Recently, regarding childcare, I worked at facilities before, so I do have my credentials, my CDA, child development. I take 20 hours of training each year. I've undergone background checks. So as far as the credentials, they're there. What I'm currently doing now, I do work in the community. And like I said, I spent 30 years working in the community in the social service field. And I'm moving away from that. And I'm going into the child care field. And I'll explain why. I have to find employment, housing, and I was just listening to the conversation. Our city is changing. It's changing drastically. And what's happened is that a lot of people don't have the opportunity in my field to work a 9-to-5 job. They're for whatever reason, okay? And so that's why I chose to go into the child care field, because someone has to take care of these children. I noticed you mentioned a lot of daycares like 9 to 5. Well, mine, I'll be operating from, well, depending on parent's schedule. So if she works the night shift, I'll be operating the night shift, the evening shift, and sometimes weekend and holidays, whatever it costs for me to actually do for these parents. And I've noticed that these children, I will be helping children not only with e-learning, but just developmental mentoring, not only the children, I'll be actually mentoring parents, and that's what I do today. And just help acclimate them into the world, just offering my services. So a child care provider goes a long way. It's just not caring for children at a certain time. It's me caring for these children or being helpful to these parents so they can be at ease whether they're working or in school, knowing that somebody is providing a safe and nurturing environment for their children. Regarding my property, I don't have a driveway, but in the area, I would say it's 20 feet. I have a nice block, very clean, 20 feet on each side. So it's a nice distance, the area. My area is clean. I do have a wood fence. The wood fence is surrounding the property. And by the way, I think one person in my neighborhood, I know exactly, who opposed the child care. And I did ask, I said, well, what is your concerns? And she said, well, I don't want all these kids running around the block, running around the areas. And I said, well, I gave her a little information about how child care works, meaning that they don't just put children in a child care home. We have to undergo a lot of different what I'm trying to say, we have to undergo background. We have to do a lot of things to actually start a daycare home inside our actual home. So I did say the place is nice and clean. I have a wood fence. The front of the home is clean. The parking is to the left of me, but I did hear they're in the process of renting. The people who stay to the right of me, they enter and exit their home on 36th Avenue. So the parking wouldn't be a problem. Later on, I did think about investing in a driveway, as you mentioned, Mr. Brewer. So that is something I'm going to, seriously think about in the near future. So this is where I stand. Any questions?
You're looking to be a 24-hour daycare? I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, with being a 24-hour daycare, you will have to make sure you're with our security camera systems that have to be provided for anyone that's open over a certain time inside the city.
Yes.
Is there any question from any other council members at this time? I want to just say for the record, I do have where 74 mailers went out. There was 3 opposed and 5 that returned was not unopposed for it. The 3 opposed, the concerns was keeping the area residential was the concern of the three that was opposed.
Right. And Mr. Eric mentioned it in the last, what happened, we had some issues with our mailers. So one person opposed twice. So it was one person opposed twice, and then it was someone else. Again, neighborhood talks, you know, and I talked to the people, and like I told you a little earlier, and I asked, what were, you know, your concerns? Because I want to assure these people, I mean, my neighborhood, that my daycare will be fine. You know, they won't have to worry about, and then I want to be approachable. I want them to know they can come to me if they did have a concern. It wouldn't be an issue at all. I'll address the issue and move forward, you know, but I don't expect no issues at all. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm familiar
Chair?
with the area. I used to
Yes.
live on that block, matter of fact, years ago. So I am familiar with the area. I don't know which councilperson that was, that Councilman Williams?
I think he's on mute.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, Councilman Williams.
I didn't have any questions for him, no. I didn't hear. Can you restate your question, sir?
No, I'm just saying that I'm familiar with the area. I used to live in that area on that block, matter of fact, 37 North Carolina years ago. So I am familiar with that area there. Yes. Is there any other question from council members at this time? Okay, thank you, Ms. Moss. We will take this under advisement on the 20th. I ask if you can please attend at 6 p.m. Via Zoom, and we will move for this on third and final at that time.
Okay, thank you, council. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you. Our next ordinance is CPO 2020-64, property 1954 Madison Lane, Gary, Indiana 46407. Kiara Jackson, 7534 Jerome Drive, Waikiki, Florida. I don't know if I said that right, but that's Florida 34607. Is our petitioner on? Yes, I see Ms. Jackson there.
Yes, I'm sorry, I just got some teeth pulled yesterday, so I'm kind of swollen. I'm talking a little bit, but yes, I currently rent the property. I've got the approval from my landlord that it was okay for me to open a home daycare. I currently work for the state of Indiana in the DFR. I'm transitioning to open my own daycare. I'm a single mom, and you know, when you work a 8 to 4:30 job, it's hard when you have little children, if things happen with the kids or they get sick. So I wanted to open my own business so that I can always be available for my children as well as other parents' children who have the same issue. I currently live in the area, it's mostly older people. And so that was some of the complaints the 5 people opposed, because they wanted to keep the area residential. And I think the issue is that I think a lot of people have the wrong impression on home daycares. I think they think it's like a center, so it's going to be a lot of traffic, or it's going to be a lot of this, a lot of that. And that's totally different for a home daycare. Everything basically is done inside the home. I have a fenced backyard. I have a driveway. I have a garage. I won't have any problem with parking. I would like to be open Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. However, I do want to be available to some parents. So I am going to apply for a 24-hour license, but I will be advertising it at 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and additional hours upon request, because I don't want, you know, to be fully 24 hours or have a lot of parents if I have parents that need me for additional hours, that's great, but.
So on 24 hours, how many days out of the week will you be open?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, okay. So it doesn't say inside the petition, I don't know what you went before zoning, what hours you put in zoning, but you are seeking to be 24 hours. Then I want to be correct on that.
Yeah, my license from the state, I will be seeking to be 24 hours.
Okay. Is there any questions? Well, I do have one real quick before I open up to my colleagues. I see your petitioner address is in Florida.
That's my landlord. They live in Florida.
That's the landlord. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you will be living at this property. Do you live at this property now?
Yes, I currently reside and I will be residing in this property as well.
Okay. How long have you been there?
May made a year I've been in this property.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Any other council members at this time? Questions, concerns, comments?
I have a question, Mr. Chair, just for my knowledge and clarity. So when we do have a petitioner who has obtained approval from a landlord to do something such as a home business or daycare in this particular instance, what is the requirement? Is it just that the landlord also provide a notarized letter, submitting that to the BZA for approval during that process?
That's normally what takes place. It really should have been attached to the package. Like the last packet had how many letters went out, and they let us know that it doesn't say this in this packet here. And I don't know if anyone is on from planning at this time. BZA, anyone?
I've submitted it to Eric, so they do have a copy of the letter.
Okay,
The
hello.
notarized letter.
Hi, this is Steve Jenkins. I think Eric was on the line, but so I can make sure that all of this information is in the packet for the next when we have it at the next council meeting. If that would be fine with you, with the council, I can do that.
Yes.
And I can work with Eric to get that done. Yes.
So I guess my next question would be, how many letters went out? So how many letters went out? What was the response that came back? I don't have that before me, like I had with the last one.
I sent out 67.
67. Okay, you got 5 opposed, 2 not opposed. What was the ones that was opposed? What was the reason?
They
There
are basically.
I should answer this.
Okay.
Since I read the letters.
Okay.
There were 5 opposed. 2 of them came back blank, just checkbox, not that they were opposed. 3 of them actually wrote something. One stated that it's a senior neighborhood and it's very quiet. They want to keep it that way. Another one mentioned issues with parking and that it's single family on both sides and they are worried about parking issues. And the third one just restates that it is an area with many residents and they don't feel that it's a right fit to put a daycare in that residential area.
Any other question, council members? Okay. We will take this under advisement on the 20th. I will ask if you will be with us. That's at 6 p.m. I'll move for this to go on third and final on the agenda, or we will take a vote. And if there's any other comments or questions from any of my other colleagues that's not here, I will ask if you be available to answer those questions.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. See you then. We now have CPO 2020-65, property 320 West Ridge Road, Gary, Indiana 46404. Petitioner Nicholas, I'm not going to try that last name there, 127 North Broad Street, Griffin, Indiana 46319. Do I have the petitioner here? CPO 2020-65.
The petitioner is on Kutansky and they are muted.
What's the last name?
Kutansky.
Pronounce it again for me again.
Kutansky.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, we will have an overview at this time.
I can give the overview of this person's not connecting yet.
Okay, if you can go ahead and start.
Themselves. Okay, I will give the overview then. The request for this petition is to establish a tattoo parlor at 320 West Ridge Road. This is a business district. I'm sorry, this is a business. Let me go down to that map. It's a B21 business district. So it requires a special use on that property. It is one of the properties right there along Ridge Road, as you see in the GIS map on the bottom. The floor plan with the exits is listed here. In the BZA meeting, we discussed health precautions, neighbors, and other provisions that they would take to make sure that their clients do not make an undue negative impact upon the neighborhood.
What was their previous?
I don't recall what was actually in that building. I think it was vacant at some point.
Okay, that's fine. Question, comment from any council members at this time?
I just want to confirm this is the business type is a tattoo parlor or a tattoo studio place?
Correct.
Okay.
I see 75 mailers went out, one opposed, one not opposed. Can you speak to the one that was opposed?
Yes, I can. The items that was listed in the one that was opposed has a concern for the type of people who would go into a tattoo parlor, and they don't want those kind of people in the area. They already have Roy Boy's Tattoo Parlor on 38th and Broadway, quotes the Bible about making cuttings on your flesh, and question about businesses frowning on people with tattoos.
I don't know what type of people goes into tattoo parlors, and yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay. There any questions?
It's called a sin.
It's called a who?
A sin.
No. Oh, those are the type of people that go, oh, okay. Okay. All right. Yes, I'm sin free then. Okay. Okay.
I see that, Mr. Councilman Brewer, I see that it's next door to Mr. Pfeifferman's building. And again, another, all these businesses that keep coming through the 5th district, and I just, you won't share it with us. I don't know why. And if I wasn't concerned, I would, I wouldn't say anything, but you keep on, here's the tattoo parlor, I don't know. I'm looking at houses directly next door to. I don't think those neighbors would be interested in having a tattoo parlor right there.
Can I say something?
Oh, this is the petitioner. Yes, please.
We are actually good friends with our neighbor. She rents from, I'm not sure what the property name is, but she's a renter. We're actually friends on Facebook, and she attends our free barbecues every 2 weeks or so that we do them. So she's actually a really good friend of ours now.
Okay, where would your parking be?
We have been told by the property management that's on the corner that we can use their available parking. They also own the abandoned building across the street. They're turning into a recording studio or a news station type deal. But they said we could use that lot as well. Directly behind the building in the alley that leads to the back of our building, they demolished the house that was back there that had been burned and falling down. So we actually cleared off that whole lot that was the garage. And so we do have parking back there as well That's usually where we park our vehicles so that our clients can park in the other available spots.
Okay, so
Right.
you would get permission from these people in writing other than word of mouth saying that you could use their property.
Yes, I can do that if needed. We've actually become very familiar with the other companies in the area. The Active Auto across the street years ago actually used to babysit Nicola. So it's basically like family across the street. And then like I said, the lady next door that rents, we're good friends with her, and the rental property company on the corner has already given us permission, so I can have him put something in writing.
Any other questions, Councilwoman?
No, sir.
Okay. So are you the sole owner of this building here, or are you renting space?
We actually purchased the property. My boyfriend is Nicola. Him
Okay.
and I we'll be running the business. Right now, we're just kind of doing free cookouts to give back to the community. We don't ask for any sort of donations. We don't ask for any sort of business from them. We're just providing what we thought was needed to be able to get our name out there and be proactive in the community. His parents actually purchased the building outright and own it.
Okay. So as far as staff concerned, so far it's just you and your boyfriend, I believe you said, or your husband?
Yes, we've actually interviewed a few other artists, and just due to some of their backgrounds or them actually doing tattoos out of their homes, they have not seemed like they would be a good fit for when we can open.
So what's your number of staff that you're looking at if you will be fully staffed? What would that number look like?
It would be 2 until we get busier, then we could hire 2 more.
Okay, so about 4.
Mhm. That would be the top.
Okay. All right. Is there any questions, comment, any other council member at this time? Okay, but not hearing any of, I will ask if you can join us on the 20th, or I will move for this to move for third and final. That's the 20th of October at 6 p.m. Via Zoom. So if there's any other questions that my colleagues may have at the time, we can address them.
Yes, sir. Will I provide the written letter to Eric, or should I bring it to the next Zoom meeting?
If you can provide it to Eric, and Eric will share it with us.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. We have our last one for the night, CPO 2020-66. Property 719 West 51st Place, Gary, Indiana 46408. Petitioner Marquita Cox, P.O. Box 931, Sherrville, Indiana 46375. Good evening, Ms. Cox.
Councilman, I do not see her on the Zoom call.
Okay, has she been on any? Anyone know if she's been on any? Because I haven't been checking that. Okay. Well, by her not being here, I would not feel comfortable with advancing her forward if no one has any explanation why she's not on the call tonight. So I would defer this one to come back to committee. All right, that's it. That will end our planning and development for tonight. I thank everyone for joining. I thank Councilwoman Ty Atkins for starting us off and chairing this meeting. Everyone have a good night, and I'll see
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, Councilman Lay.
And I apologize. I'm sure I've overlooked it. Why was 2020-69 continued by Councilwoman Atkins?
69, I believe there was information that Councilwoman Atkins was petitioning the sponsor and GSD, and she did not get that information in a timely fashion.
Did the rest of the council get the information?
I haven't received any information at all either.
You all did.
Oh, we did?
We received an email later on that day.
Okay.
So it should be in your email address, in your email.
But it wasn't within the time.
No, it wasn't by the deadline that I requested.
Yes.
What date you continue it to?
I will state that date on the 20th at the public meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank everyone for joining. See you at the next council meeting on the 20th. Have a good night. God
Good
bless.
night.